Hi, I'm Dave. Shoulders are complicated structures. There's a lot going on because of extraordinary degrees of freedom. So the joint itself allows a lot of rotation. The humerus can rotate inside the joint capsule. We have enormous range of motion in a bunch of different directions here. And the whole joint is mounted on your scapula, on your shoulder blade, and that moves. So the whole structure here is moving around a lot, which is great. It allows us to do an amazing variety of things with our arms and hands and shoulders. But the downside is stability. It's inherently unstable. The stability we do get in the shoulder joint and in our shoulder motions comes from muscle engagement. And you may have heard of rotator cuff. Rotator cuff is a set of 4 different muscles that surround the ball, the head of the humerus here, and work to hold it in the socket. We've all heard of rotator cuff injuries and rotator cuff surgery and all that kind of stuff. One of the issues with rotator cuff is that these muscles are down inside and we don't feel them very much. They're not the big deltoids and pecs and lats and the big movers around the shoulder that we can see and that we're thinking about when we train. So they're a little bit tricky to feel and they're a little bit tricky to get to and work. We don't really need to dive very much deeper than I've just talked about though in order to get a huge benefit from training rotator cuff, but really one main motion here, which is external rotation. That looks different depending on which position you're in, but it's rotating your humerus and maybe the rest of the arm to the outside. So this external rotation. Sometimes that looks like bringing your elbow in. A little bit counterintuitive there, but losing external rotation often looks like dumping here, elbow popping out to the side. Training external rotation. So if you've been injured and been to a PT to rehab rotator cuff, you'll often start with some simple variation, sometimes on your side with a small weight or a can or something in your hand, and your elbow braced against your body to help keep this rotation simple and not complicate it with other movements. All right, but this is very, very remedial and not very helpful when we're out working and training and moving. Throwing, hitting, striking, chopping, paddling, swimming, all kinds of motions will be improved by the stability that you can gain by external rotating. So start by doing this. Stand up nice and tall, give yourself good posture. Bring your arms up so that they kind of stick straight out to the sides here. Imagine a broom handle running from one elbow to the other, as straight out to the side as you can. And your forearms just dangling at first, and now try to keep your elbows in the same place and rotate up. External rotation. You can do this with your back pinned against a wall. Will help you feel what's going on in here and not be all wiggly. It's pretty common at the beginning to start here, and then as you bring your hand up, you're actually dropping your elbow, which is your body trying to cheat its way out of not being able to do this. It's also common for this to feel pretty crunchy and kind of painful sometimes, like just this motion hurts. Hurts a little because we haven't done it, things are weak, the joint is kind of rusty and crunchy, so it's good to work through this. Start the way I'm doing it right now, just external rotate. Press up. If you're leaning back against the wall, you can use the wall to try to see how far your forearms are coming. Don't bother reaching back with your wrist like this to touch the wall. That's not what we're after. Just rotate back. And ideally, we want to be able to rotate to a full open position, I guess I'll call it, but that's that full external rotation. You'd also like to add, I'm going to show you a couple of variations now, one with bands, one with dumbbells, where we're adding load to the same motion. Okay, so doing this with a dumbbell. This dumbbell external rotation is a really nice supplementary movement, and I call for it a lot in my training. You want to turn so that we're trying to mimic this position with arm out to the side, but I'm going to use my knee as a support. So turn, twist your body around, do what you can to get this as open as possible. And put your elbow on your knee just as a reference to help you stabilize that position. So from here, nice and controlled. At the bottom, you want to press down as much as you can without letting your shoulder blade dump forward. So you'll feel some restriction at the bottom. That's good. We're increasing your range of motion here. And nice and controlled up at the top, like so.